Marcus Green lives in a quiet residential area on the outskirts of the city, where the houses are modestly built, surrounded by tree-lined streets. Marcus's neighbors, from the elderly to the children, are all familiar with his image. A middle-aged man with a gentle smile, always willing to help anyone in need. Every morning, Marcus wakes up at 5 a.m., starting his day with a simple but meaningful habit. He made a cup of hot coffee, opened the window to breathe fresh air, and listened to the birds singing. When the first sunlight shines, Marcus often goes out to the yard, tending to his small garden. It is a modest piece of land that he takes care of meticulously, where colorful flowers bloom, and several lush green vegetable beds are always ready for daily meals. After a simple breakfast, Marcus often begins his volunteer work. He doesn't have an official job, but every day is busy helping the community. Today, Marcus stopped by the house of Mrs. Edith, an elderly widow who lives alone at the end of the street. Edith was having trouble fixing a leaky faucet, and Marcus brought tools to help her. "You're an angel, Marcus," Edith said, her eyes sparkling with gratitude as he tightened the wrench to secure the pipe. "It's nothing, Grandma. If you need anything, just call me," Marcus replied, his tone warm. At noon, Marcus goes to the community center, where he often spends time teaching children how to make crafts from recycled materials. His class is always full of laughter. The children love him not only for his patience, but also for the way he always encourages them to be creative and confident. "Uncle Marcus, can you help me paste this?" asked a little girl, holding up an unfinished colored paper drawing. "Let me see. You did very well. Just need a little more glue here and you're done," Marcus said, smiling. Although he always appears close and likable, Marcus is very secretive about his personal life. He has no family or close friends who visit the house regularly. Every time someone asked about his past, Marcus just laughed and quickly changed the subject. However, that does not reduce the love that people have for him. To them, Marcus is a kind man, no matter where he comes from or what he has been through. In the afternoon, after completing the day's work, Marcus drove his old pickup truck out to buy some necessary items. The road he passed was tree-lined and quiet, but today, the atmosphere seemed different. As he turned onto the main road, a police car suddenly turned on its siren behind him and signaled him to stop. Marcus calmly pulled the car to the side of the road. He turned off the engine, rolled down the window, and waited. Two policemen stepped forward, their eyes sharp and alert. "Are you Marcus Green?" one of them asked, his tone serious. "Yes, it's me. Is something wrong?" Marcus asked, trying to keep his voice calm. "Please get out of the car," the policeman said, without offering any explanation. Marcus felt surprised, but he did not object. He got out of the car and raised his hands to show cooperation. Immediately, a police officer handcuffed him. "Wait, what's this? What did I do?" Marcus asked, his voice filled with confusion. "We'll explain later," the policeman replied, but his eyes showed no compromise. Passers-by began to notice and gather, whispering to each other as they saw Marcus being put into the police car. Marcus couldn't understand what was going on. He knows he did nothing wrong. But deep in my mind, a feeling of anxiety began to rise. Has the secret he always tried to hide been discovered? Unanswered questions lurked in his mind as the police car drove him away, leaving shock and curiosity in the eyes of those around him. Marcus is taken to an old police station with gray walls and bright fluorescent lights. He was led into a small room with only a metal table and two chairs facing each other. A camera was mounted on the corner of the wall, the red light flashing as if his every move was being monitored. "Sit down," a policeman said, his voice cold. Marcus sat in his chair, trying to stay calm even though he was filled with confusion. "I want to know why I was arrested," Marcus said, looking directly at the police officer across from him. "You know why you're here," the other man replied, his tone not concealing his suspicion. "No, I don't know. I didn't do anything wrong," Marcus replied, trying to keep his tone calm. The police officer flipped open a file in front of him. "You were in this area at 2 p.m. yesterday, correct?" Marcus nodded. "Yes, but I'm only at the community center to teach the children." "We received a report that a man matching your description was involved in a theft," the police officer said, his eyes sharp. Marcus frowned. "This is definitely a mistake. I didn't do anything. Do you have proof?" "We're investigating," the officer said, but his tone didn't sound like he wanted to believe Marcus. Over the next hours, Marcus endured a series of repetitive, doubtful questions. They asked him about every detail of the previous day, even about small things like who he met or what he talked about. Every time Marcus tried to explain, his words seemed to be dismissed. As the clock struck midnight, Marcus felt tired and helpless. "I need a call," he said, his voice more determined. The police officer hesitated, but finally nodded. "Okay, but you only have 5 minutes." Marcus was led to a telephone on a table in the corner of the room. He dialed a number he knew by heart, his voice calm but clear. "I need your help now. They've captured me." The person on the other end of the line answered briefly, but their voice was enough to make the police officer standing nearby frown slightly. Marcus hung up and turned to look at the policeman. "Now, let's wait," the police chief continued. "Mr. Marcus Green is not only the good neighbor we know, but also a former Special Forces officer who has led many life-or-death rescue missions. Imprint his passion lies not only in the battlefield, but also in building peace. After leaving the army, he chose a peaceful life, hiding his glory to focus on the simplest things in the community. This story is like a media bomb. Reporters jostled to get more details. A neighbor, Mrs. Edith, burst into tears when recalling the times Marcus helped her in small but meaningful things. Marcus, who was invited on stage, declined the invitation to stand in front of the microphone. Instead, he walked up quietly, looking across the crowd, his eyes shining, but still maintaining his characteristic modesty. "I'm not angry or blaming anyone," Marcus said, his voice low and clear. "We can all make mistakes. What matters is how we face and learn from those mistakes. I hope that this story will be a lesson in fairness, respect, and dignity. The value of listening before judging." Marcus's words received resounding applause. The sheriff stepped forward and shook Marcus's hand in front of everyone. "You are someone we need to learn from. Thank you for reminding us of the values we have unintentionally forgotten." The incident does not stop at a public apology. It opened a wide-ranging investigation into the police's handling of cases based on prejudice. The local community began organizing workshops inspired by Marcus's story to raise awareness about social justice. Marcus returns to his daily life, but now he is no longer a quiet man in the dark. He became a symbol of kindness and steadfastness. When reporters tried to learn more about his heroic past, Marcus just smiled lightly. "I didn't do anything big. I just did what I thought was right." The peaceful life in the small neighborhood seems to have a new flow of energy. People not only talk about Marcus as a hero, but also as a reminder that sometimes the most extraordinary people emerge from the simplest places. When Marcus's story was reported by the media, it quickly spread throughout the country, even internationally. Articles, television shows, and online discussions praise him as a symbol of goodness and kindness. However, Marcus did not take advantage of this opportunity to build his personal reputation. Instead, he started an educational initiative called Humanity and Justice, aimed at raising awareness about human rights and fair treatment in society. Marcus's initiative focuses on hosting free workshops where people can discuss issues such as prejudice, discrimination, and how to create a more inclusive community. He also partners with nonprofit organizations to support victims of injustice, providing resources and legal assistance when needed. Each workshop begins with a small story from Marcus himself, often about past experiences he has never shared before. A story he told touched many people. "I once met a child, lost in the middle of a battlefield. He was scared, didn't trust anyone. But when I knelt down and talked to him, I realized that with just a little faith and kindness, we can change everything." The local community also actively participates in Marcus's initiative. Ms. Edith, Mr. Brown, and many others became enthusiastic volunteers, helping to organize events and spread the message. Local schools have even incorporated Marcus's program into their curriculum, helping the younger generation better understand the importance of social justice. The police response was also positive. Many officers have attended seminars to learn from Marcus and improve their outreach to the community. The police chief, who publicly apologized to Marcus, became a close friend, regularly consulting with him on how to improve the system. On a special day, when the People and Justice Initiative held its biggest event ever, Marcus invited a special guest, his sister, with whom he had lost contact for many years. She walked onto the stage, tears in her eyes, and hugged him in front of hundreds of people. "You've always been the person I admire the most," she said, her voice choked up. That scene ended the event in resounding applause and happy tears. Marcus not only changed the lives of those around him, but also healed precious relationships in his life. His story is a powerful reminder that kindness and fairness are not just values to talk about, but actions to take every day. And sometimes the greatest changes start from the simplest people, in the most ordinary places.